So the gym I'm at, I'm based out of Indiana. So our gym is called IBG. It's on the east side of Indianapolis. I think right now the most notable name would be Frank Martin used to train there. He just fought Tank Davis, right? He started at IBG and then he ended up going to like Dallas to train with Derek James. And then Corey Anderson used to be in the UFC light heavyweight. He's in Bellator champion. He's out of that gym.
Okay.
And then I'd say like some old school names would be like Chris Liddell from the UFC. He was Ultimate Fighter season 4, and then he's the announcer for bare knuckle boxing. Well, I'm not the biggest Belal Muhammad fan. I don't think I stand alone on that statement, but it was surprising for sure, you know, to see what he did to Leon in Leon's home turf.
Dated back to his fight with Marlon Moraes. That was the last time he was hurt. He was hurt bad in that fight. That fight, he was almost out. His ability to recover is next level though. Like, he'll get hurt, and then as soon as he's on a single leg or as soon as he's recovered, it's like almost a nightmare, especially for these guys who are trying to finish him. Do you think that this is gonna be Sean's toughest fight? You know how he keeps saying that this is his love letter to Mexico and everything, right? That's kind of how he's been promoting it. Yeah, so he's pretty much saying that he's gonna tell the history of Mexico and Mexicans fighting since the dawn of time, pretty much. And it's gonna be like a story told within the sphere, and calling it a movie, a book, whatever.
It's gonna be a quick book. It's gonna be it's gonna be a quick paced book.
Hi, brother. What episode is this?
Man, 100.
I feel like 100. What, 54?
Yeah, 54, 55.
Yeah, 54, 55. One of those. I'm sure one of them will be right. Yeah, damn, man. We ain't been in the stew for a while.
It's been a minute.
It's been a little while. When was the last fight we talked about in the studio? Because I know we talked about Belal and we talked about Izzy and Duplessis. What?
They were both mid.
Mid how?
They were both mid. Both them fights was mid, though.
What are you talking about?
Belal was for sure mid. Leon had no confidence. Belal was just a backpack. Door to explore the whole fight. And then Izzy, that was just...
Door to explore.
That was just a rando, just... Oh, lost. Oh, wow. Okay.
So you're saying it's mid because the people you like lost?
People I like lost? No. Yeah. People lost. It wasn't nobody I liked. It was people in general took L.
I mean, people going to take a L either way. It's going to be a mid.
It's the way they took L.
Nah, bro. But both of those fights were very interesting. As far as the Belal and Leon, I mean, we already talked about that. But yeah, Belal's the champ. Belal's the champion of the welterweight division. Isn't that crazy, huh? Who would have thought? You don't care?
It doesn't excite nobody.
Okay. And then Duplessis is now the king of Wakanda, according to the people who commented and everything. You know, that's probably like the number one comment that I've been getting.
King of Wakanda?
There's a new king of There's a new king of Wakanda.
I mean, hey, he dubbed him. I mean,
he did. He won. We already talked about. We thought Izzy was up, but then, you know, what happened, but it's what it is. And then we had whatever. And then we had a couple of fight nights that we didn't get to talk about. The middleweight division has a new contender in Kyle Barallo. So that, you know, him beating Jared Cannonier the way he did, that shit was very impressive. But, you know, not to keep people waiting, because we have a very special guest today.
Yes,
we're gonna be talking to Mr. Jason from Project Showtime, and he enters the podcast right now. What's up, Jason? How we doing?
What's up, guys? I'm good. How you doing?
We're doing all right. We're doing all right, man. As well as you can be in the day and age of today's mixed martial arts community.
100%.
So we're just talking about how one of the last fights we were able to talk about was the whole Belal Muhammad and Leon Edwards situation, and I'm not sure how many how often do you watch fights?
I'm watching pretty much, I'd say roughly almost every UFC card, give or take. Just depending on, can I justify paying what they charge, right? But I'm watching a majority of them. Yeah, I would say.
Okay, cool. Did you end up catching that one? The whole Belal and Leon Edwards?
I I was actually traveling during that one. I was able to watch the highlights and all the breakdown and everything. I was surprised, truthfully. Was not expecting to Belal. I'm not the biggest Belal Muhammad fan. I don't think I stand alone on that statement, but it was surprising for sure. To see what he did to Leon in Leon's home turf. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was shocked. I still don't respect Bilal's skills. I know that's probably a rude thing to say, but I just don't. I mean,
I
was he
find
deserving
that
of the
very
title fight?
interesting because
Yeah,
I'm not on that wavelength. He's more on that wavelength.
Yeah, I absolutely do not like Bilal's style. I don't like the way he talks.
But as far as respecting his skill, like his resume contains some legit dudes. Like he beat
he beat some guys.
He's beating Damian Maia, he's beating Steven Thompson, he's beating Vicente Luque, majority on the feet, in my opinion. But where do you think that this whole thing about his style or his skill level, where do you think he's lacking that respect?
The backpack guy.
I think truthfully, it's one of those balances that I think MMA and UFC is in right now, where it's like, is someone deserving of a fight, or is the fight going to sell, right? There's a few examples I can throw out there. So Belal was ultimately deserving of the fight from a purist side. Yeah, he was deserving for that fight. He deserved that fight. But then it's just the way he doesn't have. I don't know off the top of my head how many finishes he has. I know it's not a lot. But I respect. Here's the deal. Truthfully, I respect anybody who is going to step into a cage and fight. Right? Like, I'm sure you guys do too. Like, I'll respect any of those people. But I think he's just boring. Like,
Right.
even from
There we
coming
go.
from
That's cool.
purist,
You can say it how it is. You can say it how it is on here.
Yeah,
this is what we do.
Yeah, like I think my favorite clip of Belal Muhammad was at it was at International Fight Week at UFC, and some fan, I don't know if you saw this clip, some fan walked up to take a picture with the belt, and he told Belal Muhammad to get out of the way so someone take a picture. I don't know if you saw that clip, but
so I could see the whole boringness, right? Like I mean, he only has 2 finishes, and I can see where that bores people, because he is a wrestler, but I feel like he's shown enough of all his abilities that I feel like he should start getting that respect from the fans. But I mean, that's just me. In my eyes, I feel like I'm a purist. I love all the aspects of martial arts, to where I enjoy the wrestling exchanges. I enjoy how he was able to dominate Leon in both the boxing exchanges, where Leon does excel, and get it to the ground and really break Leon. I mean, I think that's what surprised me most, because Leon, in his past few fights, he's shown that he can overcome that whole wrestling mentality of them trying to break his will. I mean, his last 5 opponents were all wrestlers, and I thought he kind of proved that he can handle that style. But the fact that Belal was able to overcome that, I think showed a lot, and I garnered him more respect in that aspect.
yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Like, I think he showed enough where, like, all right, I respect you. I just always struggle with the person, and I've listened to a few of your guys' episodes, so I apologize if I come off wrong on this one. Izzy, for example, okay? Izzy, for example, I think I started getting tired of Izzy because he started having those he started talking like, I'm coming for your head, or I'm putting him to sleep, all these things. And then it ends up being, I guess, a tactical fight is the right way of saying it instead of a boring fight, right? But it's like, dude, if you're going to, like, Belal said something he could box with Canelo before the fight with Leon. And I'm like, all right, that's a bold statement to say. His boxing looked good, but I get tired of those fighters who just talk so high and they don't deliver that consistently, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I hear I hear what you're saying. That's why everyone loved Conor McGregor when he was coming up, and why people like Ilia Topuria so much with him coming up, because whatever they say, they're actually going out there.
To do it.
Yeah, they're about to go out there and try and do it. That whole thing with Izzy, I feel like that almost started with the whole Yoel. That started with the whole Yoel saga and how he called out the boogeyman of the division, and then it didn't pan out, you know. But as far as where the
was weird
opinions,
in that fight.
Yeah, and he's fought the same way since. Like if you've watched some of his fights in the other promotions that he's had, he's pretty much fought that way, been just stagnant. Like he just had a PFL fight with Thiago Santos, and it wasn't the most exciting. It was pretty much a mirror image of that fight. Yeah, but regardless, I feel like that these past few cards, he was just saying that they were mid. I don't agree with that. I feel like
Terrible.
I feel like that they were very intriguing to me, especially the Israel Adesanya and Duplessis one. I thought that had a lot on the line, a lot of stakes on the line, and that it made for a very exciting card and an exciting fight too, because people thought Dricus just sucked.
It was surprising. It was surprising for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
think people and I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I think it was more so like, I thought Izzy was gonna stop Dricus. I thought he was just gonna put him out. Izzy took some time off. Granted, I think I respect that he took some time off, because he was one of the most active UFC champs, I think, in history, and people probably don't remember that. Like, he was fighting. Was he fight like 3 or 4 times a year or something like that?
Yeah.
I think he had like 3 defenses in 1 year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wild. But that was actually an example I was thinking of too, where it was like, okay, who's deserving of a fight and what's gonna sell? I think Strickland should have had a rematch with Dricus. But you got the bad blood of Izzy, and Izzy was a champ for a number of years, so I guess I can see how he's deserving of that shot. Not to like bunny trail too much, but that was just my take on it. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, I thought the same thing. I mean, I thought that the break was much needed, and a lot of people did think Strickland won. Who did you think won that fight between
Strickland?
You thought Strickland beat Duplessis? Yeah, so a lot of people, and that's why he's like getting the shot now. Like Dana, I thought already said it. Even though a lot of people were thinking Robert Whitaker might get it, but yeah, I thought it went kind of the way it should have played out, and I'm happy Strickland's getting another shot at it, because that's one entertaining dude. But before we talk more on MMA and everything, you have a podcast yourself, right? Project Showtime. And you have a lot of interesting guests talking about a lot of different things. I know you say that you like to study, I guess, their art or whatever, but tell us a little bit more about what your podcast is about and what you look for in a guest.
Yeah, so I've had my podcast for a little over a year, and when I launched it, I was pretty consistent with it. And I don't know if you guys have experienced this too. Like I did my planning, I rolled everything out, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do weekly guests. I'm just gonna go for it. And then of course life gets in the way sometimes, or like I'm doing all like the editing and everything myself and whatnot. So like it takes time, as you guys know. So basically the message is, or the brand, whatever you want to call it. I like having people on who are passionate about something, and pretty much everything is an art in my eyes, whether it's boxing, MMA, cooking, music, movies, writing, poetry, all that stuff. So I've had a pretty wide variety of people on, or just people who are just passionate about anything. So like I've had professional fighters on. I've had former professional football players and athletes. I've had professional musicians. I've had some interesting people that like I think I like having them on because they just have a different lifestyle. Like I have a skydiving instructor. I was like, dude, why do you jump out of a plane?
Oh, wow.
Like, like you know what I mean? I've had somebody who lives on a sailboat. Just to I'm curious about their story. Like I like hearing people's stories, and I want people to hear those stories as well, and just like sharing that connection. So yeah, that was a good question. My wife actually asked me that question like the other day. She's like, "Don't take this the wrong way, but like, why do you want a podcast?" I'm like, I mean, I'm still figuring it out, but like, I like having that connection with people, or sharing people's stories and learning about things and just making memories. So, I've had a couple. Actually, I've had one official where it was just we were talking just MMA and boxing. It was actually the Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier fight the same night as Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence fight. So like we had like a little podcast just about that. But I tend to have like quite a few people on that I share some interest with, just so I can have a conversation with, so I don't sound like super just out of it. But
Right.
But no, like I actually came across your guys' podcast. I feel like it was the end of last year. I uploaded something on YouTube, and the way my algorithm is, I had suggestions. You know, like on the right of YouTube, it says like, "Hey, you might be interested in this." And then I saw your guys' podcast, and I think I reached out. I was like, "Oh, I bet like I'd love to like talk with these guys, pick their brains a little bit, you know, see how
because I see you're big into the fighting world, and that you enjoy talking about boxing, and you enjoy talking about MMA, and that you like how I noticed exactly the background itself, right? How I noticed you is because of your clips and stuff that you were talking about that. And I know recently you had like a boxing encyclopedia, you called him, or a boxing enthusiast on, and y'all were talking about some good stuff on there. And I agree with that whole take. You want to talk to someone who has like-minded interests, and that's why we're having you on, because I enjoy talking about these different mindsets, especially of people who train or are in the space of martial arts.
Yeah, I'm glad that we were able to connect. Just because like I've just like you guys, I like just going back and forth and talking about either the current fight world or like what's to come, or you know, and this year specifically, I think it's been pretty wild. I do have a question though. T-Will,
Yeah, what's up?
I saw a comment or a post somewhere, and it was they were calling you a casual, and I want to know the backstory. Like, where's this whole casual stuff coming from?
Oh, okay. So basically, I started. So we knew each other through high school, right?
Right. Yeah.
So we knew each other going through high school and things like that. But he was more on the MMA and MMA boxing realm. I was just like sticking to football. I was just doing my thing. But whenever we got a little bit older, I had went to the gym and I had started doing jiu-jitsu and kickboxing. So like when I came into the space, I was just kind of like new to it. So I was just kind of throwing out random suggestions, random things, like just anything that came on top of my head. So we kept going. I started watching fights with him. We started watching fights. And now my little casual perspective, I started to become right. I was like, I started seeing some W's. I started seeing some W's.
I wouldn't say you were right.
Yeah.
Hold on. I would say you was right. You had some interesting opinions.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I started seeing some W's. I was looking more at the more broad aspect. Everybody was looking deep. I was just looking at surface level, and it was kind of working for me. So I kind of kept saying the casual, because he's super in depth. I'm not as in depth. That's why I get the casual perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, me and Terrence, like he said, we met in high school. We were both playing football together, right? Both played defense, right? So we were in the same circles a lot of the time, right? And then we both ended up going to college to play and stuff like that. And I stopped a lot sooner than him. And when I stopped, I really turned my focus towards training because I fight. Like I'm trying to be a pro MMA fighter and all that, right? And so that's kind of where I turn my focus. Out of nowhere, just one day he shows up at the gym, rando, didn't DM me, didn't message me, had no idea that he was coming. He just popped up. Boom. So I'm just I was like, what? Like, what is he doing here, right? But yeah, come to find out he's been watching the fights. He's been watching like Israel Adesanya and stuff like that. And so we're kicking it a few times and just like, so you want to start a podcast or something?
Just like that.
you want to start a podcast? And so, yeah,
just like that.
Given the fact that like I'm real into it and I like to break things down on my separate individual YouTube channel and things like that as well. We felt like it was a cool perspective to have both that casual aspect and the more analytical aspect as well, that, you know, people from both worlds can kind of take what they want.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's a good way of looking at it. Because I've listened to a few of your episodes, a lot of your clips and stuff. I don't get the casual viewing from you not even too much. I just don't see it. Like the gym I go to, there's some people that like, cause I'm training to compete next March and,
oh, nice. Wait, what do you train?
I'll go to the gym and then, so the gym I'm at, it's I'm based out of Indiana. So our gym is called IBG. It's on the east side of Indianapolis. Some notable names actually would be like, I think right now the most notable name would be, so Frank Martin used to train there. He just fought Tank Davis, right? He started at IBG and then he ended up going to like Dallas to train with Derek James. And then Corey Anderson used to be in the UFC light heavyweight. Mm-hmm. He's a Bellator champion. He's out of that gym. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then I'd say like some old school names would be like Chris Liddell from the UFC. He was Ultimate Fighter Season 4. And then he's what does he do? Gosh, I can't think. Oh, he's the announcer for bare knuckle boxing. So they train out of that gym. So I see them quite a bit. Like we have some really good fighters and stuff. We got some good young people actually fighting too. That we had somebody. His name was Cam Van Camp. He used to be in the UFC. He's in bare knuckle boxing right now. Lorenzo Trevino fights for Karate Combat, which I'm not like too familiar with.
Yeah,
but
that's a good promotion
that you may have seen. Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I have some really good trainers there and good fighters and stuff to train with. But no, I'm competing in Golden Gloves next March. And I've been training probably for, it was 2017 when I moved out here from Minnesota. But I'd say the last like 2 or 3 months, I've been really up in my training and stuff right now and just doing like more diet and weight control. Like you guys probably know, right? I'm just trying to get in the best shape I can, so when like camp starts, I'm ahead of where I want to be, if that makes sense. I'm just running.
Yeah, no, that's
so much.
That's cool. That's awesome.
A lot of push-ups and all your body works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Right. Yeah, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, you were talking about that you didn't get the casual aspect from him.
Oh, I don't get the casual aspect from you. Like I've heard people like say like, oh man, just another boring fight for so and so. I'm like, do you know anything about like do you know why he had that tactical type of fight, or do you know like there's a certain people and you just I don't even engage in conversation with some of them, because it's like
yeah, because it's like why do you need to? A lot of them.
Right.
Man, fight fans are the best fans because they're very passionate, but they're also the worst fans because they think that they know more than they do. You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
I feel like it's just a little different talking about fighting than when you're talking about other sports, right? Like if you are talking about football, you talking about basketball, you know, a lot of people have done that in their high school life or their recreational life, you know, just playing sports growing up, and they know a little bit about it, and so they can kind of critique the players on things that they see, right? Kind of. But for fighting, man, it's a whole different game, and as someone you train yourself, like you know that there's so many more fine details that just the random audience wouldn't get. You know what I mean?
Good.
And I feel like also a lot of people don't understand that, you know, they get caught up in the emotions and if they won or lost money and things like that, but they don't, and boy, do they get caught up in that, but they don't see, I feel like a lot of people, when they are talking about the game, right, they just see it as a fight, right? They see the more primal side of it rather than seeing it as people's individual art forms. You know what I mean? Like you're looking at it, Israel Adesanya, it's not going to be a barn burner every time because he has a specific, unique style that also is according with his personality and things like that, right? But a lot of people wouldn't consider martial arts an art. I'm not one of those people, but what do you think about people who say that?
Oh gosh, what is it? Oh, I know. Joe Rogan has that. Yeah, Joe Rogan has that conversation every once in a while where it's like people are like, "Oh, this isn't an art." Like to your point, they're just viewing it as like two cavemen fighting each other or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but there's practice that goes into it. There's discipline that goes into it. There's passion. There's all these things. Like it's set up. Like if you watch the UFC probably like way back in the day, and that's like Ken Shamrock days or something. Like there's the people who like just the big muscle men who just like swing, like throw and bang. It's like, okay, I could see how that could be tough to view as an art, right? But like Izzy or all those people, like there's a it's planned chaos, I guess you could say. Like they're structured to the chaos, structured to the madness, whatever you want to call it. But like if there's an art form to it, you know what I mean? Like Bruce Lee, like, you know, like there's art forms to just like I said, practice, discipline, setting things up, being smart, being educated. Like it's
right. And a lot of people and their styles and the way that they fight has to do with their personality. Like if you look at it, Israel Adesanya and his fighting style, and then you look at his personality, it's almost the same way. If you look at a Conor McGregor and his fighting style, he goes in there, he creates chaos, he's looking for the knockout, he starts fast. His personality is the same way. And I feel like the fighters who are able to show that or express that is them expressing their arts, right? And that's kind of how I view it, right? Because you like and you see somebody throwing like a spinning heel kick, right, and landing it on the mark, perfectly set up, and you see them working it backstage, and then they go out there and land it in the fight. How can you? I don't know. In my opinion, how can you not consider that an art? But then you just like that's an expression of someone's personality. That's an expression of how someone is feeling, what they've been working towards for the past 3-4 months or however long they've been training for the fight. That's the same thing as someone who's been working on a painting for 2-3 months or 2-3 weeks or however long it takes someone to paint something, right? I feel like art in general is an expression of your personality or an expression of from on the outside of what is on the inside. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. That's like probably that's a perfect way of explaining it. Can I move my computer a second? I don't know if you gotta like pause.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think I had
no
like
problem.
an issue.
How you feeling, buddy? How you feeling?
I'm not the cat.
You're 100% the casual. It's all good, bro. Everybody loves a casual opinion every now and again. You know what I'm saying?
You the cat.
I can be.
You the cat.
I can be.
I'm a dog.
All right, you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, just to confirm, I heard that you're not a casualty. Will, don't worry.
There we go. There we go. There we go. I'm right behind you. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I don't know what it was. I had some type of delay or something in back in my garage, and I don't know if it's just my mic or something. But apologies for that, man. Technical issues.
Good.
Yeah, nah, no worries. No, I was just wondering when you got into watching like boxing and MMA and things like that. I know you started training back in 2017, but as far as watching it.
Yeah. So St. Paul, Minnesota. Growing up, my neighborhood friend, he actually they would have fights every time at the Armory. So that was back when I was growing up as a kid, right? So I'd say I really got into it in like 99, maybe 2000. But as far as like the actual like training and throwing hands, like I had a friend of mine who competed MMA and wrestling. So like he would hold mitts for me, like when you're just starting to learn things and whatnot, not really knowing what you're doing.
Right.
And that was a little bit around that time. But I was just always passionate about boxing, like growing up around it a little bit. Honestly, I think it was Knockout Kings 2000 on Nintendo 64. And I was playing with my friend, and like that's where I learned about a bunch of boxers. And I was like, okay, cool. And of course, everybody knew Mike Tyson and whatnot at that point, right?
Right.
But like, I was so interested in like playing this video game, and then like, oh, I know this boxer from the video game, and then I would watch it, and then from there it was like I just kept watching the sport. And then when I moved to Indiana. I started going to Title Boxing, which was more like a boxing fitness gym, I guess, but it's still like a place where you can learn a little bit about the sport when it comes to technique and whatnot.
Yeah.
But from there, you're around. You guys could probably relate in a way. Like you go to a place and you just start to associate with those people there. You know, like you can start to like build a community and network. And that's when I learned about other gyms. And then I've been going to IBG for a while. I can't think off the top of my head, but yeah, I'd say so. Like the short answer, probably 20 years or something, I'd say is where I really, really dug into the sport. 20, 23, 24 years maybe. But as far as like training goes, like it definitely started up in it around like 2017 or something like that.
Right. And you said watching Mike Tyson is kind of what brought you into the sport of boxing. How long ago did you started watching MMA though? Because that's more of a new sport.
I mean, like Mike Tyson, Roy Jones. Yeah, like Mike Tyson, Roy Jones, Vladimir Klitschko. Those are the boxers I watched. And of course, Floyd. Like I really liked Floyd.
Everybody.
Young Floyd, like, people think Floyd is misunderstood, but he probably does that to himself.
What makes you think that Floyd's misunderstood? What do you think people don't understand about him?
Because I think people understand certain things about him, but as far as like his skill is great. I think it comes back to the casual conversation, right? So, let's say you'll turn it on, you'll say he's boring or he's running, which he was never running. I think like he was in trouble a couple times in his later career, but it's like he was able to set up traps. He knows how to move. I never viewed him as a runner. People say he ran against Pacquiao or Adrian Broner. I don't think so. I think it was just being smart and tactical with his footwork, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like, no, I think when people talk about Floyd, they're like, oh, he was boring, most boring fighter. I was like, I don't think he was boring. I think it got to a point where like he might not be knocking people out anymore, you know. Like, okay, I'm sorry, Ray Lewis probably wasn't a stud in his later years of his career, but he was still dominant.
Dog,
you know, like
dominant.
If from a football aspect or something, right? Yeah, like dog,
dominant.
Straight up dog. So it's like you can't be mad that Floyd changed his style. Plus, Floyd wanted to be more defensive because he could fight longer and not take as much brain damage and retire when he wanted to. So
retire though. retire. He's still not
he was definitely
retired.
a big person that I watched growing up, and just kind of seeing how he changed. And he was smart with how like he became the villain to get pay-per-view sales, right?
Right.
That's
Right. And he's
smart.
still fighting. Y'all saw
Big
that fight with John Gotti,
Yeah, dubbed him too.
the third or what? Did you see what happened in that fight?
He changed the ref mid-fight.
He fired the ref. He fired the ref of his own fight.
Mid-fight.
Man, and you know what's crazy? He still made millions off that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, he still is making millions off that. You saw that whole thing about Russell Wilson. It said Russell Wilson made what was it? 21 million or like 1.2 million in this last year, and it would have taken Floyd like 30 seconds to make that.
30 seconds.
30 seconds to make what Russell Wilson just made in a year. It's so
discouraging to see that breakdown. It's so discouraging.
That is bananas, dude.
A couple 100,000 per second. I'm like, cool. That sounds great.
Still living my life, right? still living my life. Hey man, but it just grows the sport though, man. Like the amount, like the Muhammad Ali's, the Floyd Mayweathers, the Conor McGregors, they grow the sport so much. And even today's age, going back to MMA with Sean O'Malley, who's fighting at UFC 306, he is bringing a new audience too, a younger audience, but he's their hero almost in a sense, right? Like how yours was like a Mike Tyson, Roy Jones. He's their person who's bringing them into the sport, doing all the shit he does, face tattoos, smoking weed and knocking people out and having the performances to back it up. He's another one of those guys I feel like backs up what he says, right? How do you see that fight with him and Merab going?
Dude, I think if Merab gets clipped, I've never seen Merab off the top of my head. I can't think of the last time Merab got clipped.
I said this.
You say you can't.
And if I'm the casual out of these three, I'll take that title. That's okay. I just don't. I can't see Merab losing.
You can't see Merab.
Oh
losing.
wow.
Yeah. Now what you thought?
Oh.
I mean, well, he got clipped against Cejudo.
He got dropped against Cejudo.
He didn't get dropped. He got clipped. He got rocked, and then he ended up recovering.
I must have missed that.
I
missed that.
It was a short left hook. He wobbled for a little bit. Cejudo tried to pounce on him and missed majority of his shots, and then Merab was able to recover. And then I think dating back to his fight with Marlon Moraes, that was the last time he was hurt. He was hurt bad in that fight. That fight, he was almost out. But then his ability to recover is next level though. Like he'll get hurt, and then as soon as he's on a single leg or as soon as he's recovered, it's like almost a nightmare, especially for these guys who are trying to finish him. But his
cardio is insane.
Yeah, insane. And that's something. There's something to that. I think what people say is that like the better shape you're in, like this is what the Diaz brothers kind of almost brought to MMA. Like the better shape that you're in, the more your brain could take, the more your chin can take, like the better chin you have. All right, like the Diaz brothers, they always ran triathlons and did all those crazy things, right? Merab is a machine in the gym, and I feel like his cardio is the reason why he's able to recover so quickly when he does get hurt. Yeah, but yeah, going back to, I mean, it is a tough fight. It is a tough fight.
I've heard that too. I've heard like the cardio builds your chin. I've heard that.
Mm-hmm. And do you think that this is going to be Sean's toughest fight? You can speak your mind too, though.
This fight was honestly, I thought, you can speak too. I thought his toughest fight was Jan. I truthfully thought Peter Yan. I thought Yan was gonna murder him. We haven't seen the same Peter Yan since before his fight against Aljo, the first fight against Aljo. That was Peter Yan against Aljo 1 he was dangerous. He was that was the Yan I was gonna see against Sean. I didn't think Sean was gonna win that.
I think Aljo was his toughest fight and he dubbed him.
You think so you're talking about like style wise?
Aljo was his toughest fight and he put face on Matt.
Aljo was a tough fight for him.
Yeah.
He was a tough fight. But Aljo he wasn't the one who's really gonna like push that pace though. At the same time, because you see Sean breathing in between rounds, right? You see him looking up at the clock, even in the Yan fight, right? Which I think that Yan fight was definitely his toughest so far, right? And going into it, like you just said, I thought Yan was gonna give him that tough fight, and I was like, man, if he does make it out of it, okay, yeah, he's that guy. He'll be champ. But yeah, as far as his toughest fight. As crazy as it sounds, I think
Aljo's a dog.
Yeah, Aljo's a dog, but I think that Merab is his toughest style matchup, and I still think he's gonna win. I still don't think that it presents like the wrestling is definitely gonna give him trouble. The pace, the cardio is gonna give him trouble. He shouldn't have too much of a problem on the feet, even though this is another human being he has to worry about. But I don't see a way for Merab to really finish him. And that's what's making me lean so much more towards Sean. Because in his fights, nobody gets out unscathed. Whether it's him or whether it's his opponent, people are dropping. That's how it goes, right? What do you think about that?
Okay, I agree with you. I still stand by my statement that I think Merab wins, but it's got to be off of just pressure, constant pressure in wrestling. The one thing, and you mentioned that earlier, as far as like you guys are fans of like the grappling and wrestling pressure. I am too. Like I love MMA. I'm not just trying to be like a boxing, like purist, but also I'm not trying to be biased towards stand up and boxing. I love wrestling and grappling. Like my favorite grappler to watch is a grappler who has the pressure but is doing damage. Like Khabib, perfect example. Like some casual or something might be like, oh, he's just laying there. No, he's laying there. He has his arm trapped behind his back, and he's throwing hands and elbows like he's dancing. Yes, there's those other wrestlers that just like lay there and just hold position. I'm like that I don't truly care about too much. But Merab, I think if he keeps that pressure and just he has to, so Merab has to close the distance. He has to somehow stay out of range or close in the range to like not get clipped. And Sean does get better every fight. And I think his stand-up, his kicks, his hands, he's quick. And he's difficult to take down, I think, because he's so lanky.
That's what I was about to say.
Could be,
it's a different leverage point when you have those long legs. Like, and especially because Merab likes the single legs. Like, he very rarely completes a double leg takedown. He'll shoot a double on the fence, like when your back's against the cage, in order to like transition to like a single leg. But man, it's so hard trying to take down people with long legs when you only have a hold of one leg. When you only have a single leg, it's so difficult, especially if they know what they're doing. And to be honest, I think that Sean also showed in his fight with Yan, like when it did go to the ground, which I don't think he was planning for at all, he had an ability to get up by throwing up attacks, right? When Merab takes people down, he doesn't do enough damage for me. He more tries to damage their gas tank, right? He tries to break people. He tries to break people until they can't really keep up with his attacks. As far as the wrestling aspect goes, like he's almost the most pure wrestler that I've seen, like with his fighting style. Like he doesn't go for many submissions, right? I think he has like one submission or two submissions on his record. He obviously prioritizes position over the submission. And man, I feel like Sean moves so much that it's gonna be hard to get to those takedowns and to close that gap like you were talking about in the meantime, right? Because like as soon as you start trying to cross that void, that's where Sean wants you to be. Just like when Aljo tried to cross that void, right? When he tried to throw that overhand into the single leg or whatever, and just the end of the fight. The first time he tried to do that, it was the end of the fight. I think Sean is so good at capitalizing on those moments that, man, that makes it just a tough fight. Makes it a tough fight. Now, if he could get on the leg, right, if he could put together a good combination, hit him, make him respect the hands, and then get to the leg, that's a little different, right? Because then it starts those wrestling transitions. Then it starts that fatiguing process. Then it's like, okay, he might not be as sharp on the feet after that, right? But yeah, that's kind of my take on it. What do you think about that though?
Oh no, I think it gets out of there quick. I don't think it lasts long. Me personally, I don't think. No, like I see this stylistic breakdown. Me personally, I think it gets him out of there quick.
You think, Sean?
Quick. My gone.
No to UFC. That's gonna be in the
Next
sphere
day.
too. That's gonna be in the sphere. I just saw an interview with Dana, and Dana was saying that that there's gonna be chapters. That's the way they're gonna do
What
it.
you mean?
Like there's gonna be chapters in the event. You know how he keeps saying that this is his love letter to Mexico
What?
and everything, right? Like that's kind of how he's been promoting it. Yeah, so he's pretty much saying that he's gonna tell the history of Mexico and Mexicans fighting since the dawn of time, pretty much. And it's gonna be like a story told within the sphere. And yeah, he's calling it a movie. He's pretty much calling it a movie, a book, whatever.
It's gonna be a quick book. It's gonna be a fast. It's gonna be a quick paced book. It's gonna be a short story.
Oh god.
No, this one ain't gonna last long.
Okay, what do you think about how much he's hyping it up and stuff like that? What do you think about the people and like the fighters that are on the card? Like how stacked is it?
I'm curious when they first announced it, I'm curious what's gonna be on the backdrop. Because like when we all first saw the sphere, I don't know if you guys first saw like the inside of the sphere, it was like the U2 concert where like the band was playing, they got the clouds and everything. I'm like, okay, so the fans are gonna be on one side. Then you got this sphere. What's gonna be like if I'm in the cage, like what's gonna be behind? Is it just gonna be blacked out? Is there gonna be like lights above, pointing down? Like what is it gonna look like? And how is it not gonna be distracting?
Right. And that's kind of what I was thinking too, because it's like, are they just gonna show like different stats on the sphere? I know there's gonna be some kind of thing with their walkout. There has to be, right? Because that's gonna be part of like the entertainment aspect of the fights. But are they just gonna be like playing the replays on this field, or is it gonna be the actual fight live? Like, you know how you go to a stadium or you go to an arena and they'll have it on the
what's it called?
Yeah, on the TV, right? Is it just gonna be like that? But I feel like that'll be kind of trippy and very like distracting, almost like you just said. So I think that's kind of why he's adding those chapters and like the storytelling and stuff like that in to kind of have that immersive experience, right? But yeah, I think that's what everyone's kind of curious about as well. Is it going to be distracting? Is it going to be just a cool experience? Like what are they going to come up with, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. And to answer your question about as far as the card, I think the card is pretty good. I mean, I think it's a bold move to have it on Mexican Independence Day, and your main event is two non-Mexican fighters. But that's okay.
Or Sean O'Malley's wife is Mexican, at least, right?
That had nothing to do with nothing.
By association, yeah, I suppose. But you got Grasso and Shevchenko. I mean, how do you guys think that one's going to turn out?
Man, I think the same result. Man.
Go all five.
You said it doesn't, or it does? You think it goes
all five?
Well, I mean, man, probably because girl fights usually do. They usually do, unless you got a killer like Amanda Nunes or even Grasso. She throws hands. If there's one thing she does, she throws hands, right? But I think she has her number, man. From the first fight, her being able to pick out when she was gonna throw that spinning back kick, and her like showing that she was preparing for it all camp, and then the opportunity finally arose. And it's not like Valentina may have been up on the cards in that first fight, but it's not that her skill level was more competent than Alexa Grasso, because she won the wrestling exchange, right? She got Alexa Grasso down, but Alexa was escaping everything. She could never really control Alexa on the ground. Even if she got her in a bad position, like the crucifix position, Alexa was competent on how to escape. And I feel like her skill level on the ground is either on par or even greater than that of Valentina Shevchenko. And we kind of saw that when she got her back. If we're going to the second fight, I thought Grasso won, but I can see where they had it a draw. And so I feel like this fight, the reason why it's happening is kind of off of merit. You know, Valentina Shevchenko is if not number one, number two for the greatest female fighters of all time, right? Killing people, the Bullet, right? Head kicking. That's another woman who we know is gonna try and finish a fight, right? She has one of those highlight reels. But as far as that matchup, man, I see Grasso winning. That's where I'm leaning towards. But then we also,
I think that's a 50. I was gonna say I think it's like a 50-50 fight. I think it's gonna be real close. But I could see Shevchenko's in her older years now. But also, before Shevchenko lost the first fight, I said to myself, I'm like, I don't see this woman ever losing. I think her fight IQ is so high. I think she's damn near great everywhere. But I mean, the world of fighting is like anything could happen.
Yeah, and
anything could happen, and that's what makes it so exciting.
Right, and the cliff is very steep. Like when it comes to age, like nobody beats Father Time. Nobody. I mean, we saw, and I'm not writing Volkanovski off, but we saw the whole stat about the 35 years and older against Topuria, and it ended up playing out. Even with Izzy, we saw that stat, and it ended up playing out like, man, Father Time's undefeated. And is she like, how old is Valentina? Valentina 30, has to be like 36. She's 36.
36, 38 is what I was going to guess, but yeah, 36.
Right, yeah. And she was ahead of the curve for so long. Like you were just saying, man, she was ahead of the curve. She was always ahead of her opponents, grappling, wrestling. Her wrestling got progressively better over her career. And then obviously she had the whole kickboxing background. And yeah, I think not only did the rest of the division start catching up, like we saw the close fight with Tyler Santos as well. But then also her age is playing a factor. But we also have another fight on the card, Diego Lopes, Brian Ortega. I think that's maybe even a better fight too. This was the fight that was supposed to happen at what was it, 303? 303 it was supposed to happen, and man, I couldn't fucking wait for that fight. But now we're getting it again at the Sphere. Diego Lopes, how quickly has he become a star?
It was happening pretty fast.
Dude, he's been in there a year?
He fighting a dog, though. Don't get it twisted. He ain't fighting no...
He's only fought dogs.
No, I'm saying no, but dude, he about to fight ain't no chump.
Yeah, Brian Ortega? No, you're right.
Not a chump.
You're right. What do you think about that fight? Brian Ortega and Diego Lopes.
If Brian makes weight, yeah.
If Brian makes
weight, I would say
he was talking about moving up to lightweight.
Diego's been on a tear, man.
That jiu-jitsu gonna
could be close. Out, I mean that's in. Yeah, I think yeah, because it was Brian's last fight that I thought he was prepping for a lightweight fight at 155, and last minute he got.
It's a bit of a weird situation because
I think there was some miscommunication.
Yeah, it was a weird situation because he got the Diego Lopes fight and he took it on like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks notice. And even though he took that fight, he was saying, but this is the last fight at 145. And it's kind of weird because if he would have beaten Diego Lopes, he could have been next, especially coming off of that win for Yair. He could have been next to like fight for the title, which is why it was like, it was kind of weird, but it didn't end up happening. And then now I don't really know what his thoughts are as far as moving up to 155. I know that wasn't the plans. It might just be his body, right? Because
he's getting older.
Yeah, it gets harder to cut weight. The older you get.
He's 33.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, man, but man, the whole grappling sequences, all of that's all going to be super fun to watch because we're going to see some grappling. Yeah. Two jiu-jitsu aces. Diego Lopes has nasty jiu-jitsu, and he's going to hurt you too. Whether he's on his back, whether he's on top, he's going to try and hurt you no matter where the fight goes. He's a finisher. And then Brian Ortega is the same way. Same way. He came up just dealing with carnage. It was just carnage during his rise.
Be careful, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think I hope the card is exciting. Truthfully, I'm sure it will be, and I know Dana said it's 1 of 1. He's never doing the Sphere again, but with a buildup like that, I feel like he could have chose maybe a little bit of a better card, but then you have to think of like, do you want the experience to be about the sphere or about the fight card? And it's a tough balance. Not everything can be UFC 300, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
I still think it's a pretty stacked card.
Yeah, I think and definitely the last three fights are amazing. And then you got to have the Mexicans on there, right? So then it's the rest is just stacked to the gills with Mexicans who are all exciting fighters too, like Daniel Zellhuber and different people like that. But as far as the martial arts world, we just had a big announcement. Demetrius Johnson ended up retiring. Did you watch Demetrius much?
I did, yeah. I watched him quite a bit. I watched him in one a few times. I enjoy watching one championship.
Nice.
But as far as Demetrius goes, man, I think he had. I feel like he got a little disrespected on his last year or so in UFC. It's a tough balance because of the fact that like he ran through that division multiple times. So it's like, what more is there for him? He was able to go to one and still do his thing. But hell of a career. Arguably a GOAT. Mount Rushmore, in my opinion. I think he's on the Mount Rushmore of MMA.
Yeah, 100%. And man, I think he's top two, and I don't really think he's number two either. I know a lot of people are gonna say John Jones, but in my book, and maybe even GSP too, but in my book, I think Demetrius Johnson is the greatest of all time.
This is when we start having problems.
This is not
when we start having problems.
Let me tell you why though, because not only did he, first off, keep in mind he has the most title defenses in history in the UFC. We see how hard it is for today's day and age of people to get title defenses and to keep how hard it is to keep that belt, not just to get it, but to keep that belt. Oh, John Jones, he's done his thing.
John Jones is better than Demetrius Johnson.
And then the fact that not only was he able to do that on this side of the world in the UFC and the biggest promotion, he also went to one championship and did it on the other side of the world to a promotion to where I think one championship at the time had the better flyweights. We're talking about Adriano Moraes, who was an 8-time one championship champion. He was training out of American Top Team. He was training with all those guys. All those guys said that he was the real deal. And then Demetrius Johnson goes over there and to defeat him in the trilogy after having his storied UFC career. And then the fact of what he's doing now, competing in jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. Like, man, all of that, as far as a mixed martial artist, that comes out to be my GOAT, right? Of course, people are gonna have the John Jones argument. What do you think about that GOAT argument?
I think it's John Jones's resume, arguably, probably one of the best resumes we've ever seen. He was a UFC champion at, was it 21 or 22, I think? Yeah. And I think as far as like the GOAT conversation with him, I think you have to give it to him. Like, it's really difficult. You could talk about performance-enhancing drugs, but then again, like, you're telling me nobody was on performance-enhancing drugs back before USADA.
Facts.
But I do think that, granted, his activity lately hasn't been great. He's still in conversation as the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean,
it's been so dominant.
It's a hard thing to argue. Right. He's been so dominant for so long. Youngest champion, like you said, most title wins. He was murdering people back in the day. If it's a perspective of what have you done for me lately, I think less people would think so. But if you just look at his career as a whole, yeah, I think that's a pretty solid argument. But man, I appreciate you hanging in here with us and lending us your time, man. I'm sure you're a busy guy, and man, I thank you for coming on the podcast today, man.
No, I appreciate you guys too, man. I really do, man. I know we had some technical issues back when I was in the garage, but hopefully I got that all figured out for you guys.
Yeah, no,
I'm happy to come on anytime you guys want to come on, or if you guys want to link up and we could do like a little fighter companion to like a live UFC fight or something, man. I'm all kinds of down. So
I was just about to ask
appreciate you guys, and we'll keep in touch, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thank you for coming on, man.
Yeah, yep, for sure.
All right, peace.
Yeah, man, and good luck. Hey, good luck to both you guys on your training, man. It's not everyone can do that stuff, so I appreciate you guys.
For sure. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, and good luck on Golden Gloves as well. Almost forgot about that. We're gonna finish up this episode by giving our thoughts on that whole Tyreek Hill situation, dog. Because you didn't hear what happened?
Him getting arrested?
Bro, what the fuck was that?
What you mean? He was getting arrested.
Well, yeah, and what for? So, for the people who don't know, Tyreek Hill, right before his game against who did they play? Miami Dolphins.
I'm not sure they won.
Yeah, they almost lost.
They almost lost.
Jacksonville. Right. Yeah. Right before his game against Jacksonville, he was parking at the stadium. Rando cops pulled him over, got him out of the car, put him face first on the ground while arresting him.
Sounds about right.
What do you mean?
I don't think you realize what the police were like put here for. And they're doing the job.
Law and order.
They weren't. Okay, you want to know when? I just have a hypothetical question.
Go ahead.
I just have a hypothetical, just historical question. Okay. You said law and order, right?
Yeah.
So whenever black people were freed, was that when law and order was created? Because that's when the police were created.
Isn't that crazy?
No, it's not that crazy. It's not that crazy.
Well, I mean, I'd want if I had been enslaving people for 200 years and they suddenly got freed, I'd want some law and order too.
You know what else happens if you get it?
Because revenge is a thing. You
know what happens when you go to prison? Like when you serve like prison time?
What happens?
You want to know?
Slavery. Yeah.
You can't vote.
Free slaves.
Free slavery. Okay, so now the police were created for, like you said, law and order.
Mm-hmm.
And a person that looks like you and me was on the ground, handcuffed.
Yeah, for apparently no reason, right? And then, man,
that shouldn't be a surprise.
That's
been a thing. It's only a surprise because it happened.
To be honest, it's happening more this year. Like the numbers are actually up for it happening. Like it's getting worse. It's not something that's getting better, which is why I'm wanting to talk about this. And if it wasn't Tyreek Hill, like what would that situation have been?
This happens every day.
You know what I'm saying?
This happens every day.
Yeah, and I'm saying, like, if it wasn't him, what would that situation have been? Like, if it was just a rando, like me or you, what would that situation have been? I mean, I just had a good interaction with a cop. I got pulled over, and nice as hell, left me off with a warning, a whole bunch of stuff he could have charged me for.
Not all of them bad. I'm just saying, most cases, it's just people that look like you and me. And if we didn't have money like Tyreek Hill, it'd probably be way worse. And then and what do we usually do? It'll be something bad happen. We'll probably ride for about a day. It didn't happen no more. And then it's on to the wayside. And then it continues.
And people forget about it. And then it just keeps
happening and happening.
In the cycle.
It's happening how it's supposed to happen.
Okay, but what do you think is going to break that cycle?
What do you think? What's going to break it?
Yeah, what's going to break it?
I can't legally say what could break that cycle on this type of platform.
Freedom of speech is a thing.
Huh?
Freedom of speech.
It is a thing. It is. Yeah. I just don't, it can't.
So you think the cycle is just forever broken?
It was created to do what it's doing currently. That's like saying like what should we do to oxygen? What you mean, brother? We're breathing. Why should we change it?
That's not the same thing.
That's the same shit.
What should we do, oxygen?
Why should we change it? Change like a molecule?
So that shit working, dog.
It's working, nigga.
Okay, all right. But isn't that crazy though? How right afterwards he goes out
I'm gonna tell you why it's not. I'm gonna tell you why too. I'm gonna tell you why. And you ever heard some shit like, damn, Tobey Maguire was put face first into the cement by police officers. Spider-Man. Hell no. Matthew McConaughey had a gun to his head, police officers. Face first on the concrete. Hell no. Matthew McConaughey. Interstellar. Never seen no shit like that.
Yeah, so you're saying that it's normal type shit. But what I think is crazy is that this motherfucker gets out of jail, couple hours notice, goes and scores a touchdown. 100. How many? He had like 70 yards, 6 receptions, and a touchdown. And then his celebration afterwards, censored on everything. You couldn't get it unless it was like a fan that posted a picture. You couldn't see it on anything. Goes out there, puts his hands behind his back. One of the coldest celebrations of all time.
You heard the theme song too? I'm locked up, don't let me down. I'm shit, hitting it up.
Okay, yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Is he the best receiver in the league?
Cap, no.
He's not?
Hell no. Cap, shit, no. Hell no. CD is the best receiver in the league right now.
You know, he was rated #1 player in the league.
Speed is okay. Speed is fine. I'm talking about like receiver. I'm talking about like do you in. I'm talking about when you line up, man, you kind of shaking a little bit. Like you just kind of like you just want to keep moving because you know what's something finna do you in the.
But is it worse to have someone shaking or to have someone playing you 15 yards off? Because
you can stop me playing 15 yards off. You could put somebody underneath me. You could put somebody behind me, and you could put somebody right next to me. But if you
that's in my face, that's controlling the whole defense.
But if you in my face though, I'm controlling you. I'm finna control your partner because he finna see what happened to you. And then look, if I keep doing you in all game.
Don't get me wrong, CD's cold. CD is a dog. Jamar Chase, I think, is up there as well for one of the best receivers in the league. Justin Jefferson has to be up there for one of the best receivers in the league for sure. Yeah, I think it is a conversation though. I think that the speed though, man, that speed kills, dog. Like it changes everybody's defense. Everybody has to work. Where's Tyreek Hill on the field?
That dude from James Worthy, the one from
Xavier Worthy. Fast as hell too.
He fashion
and already making plays.
Already.
That's why it's like speed kills, though. That's a real attribute. That's why when you make a creative player on Madden and
speed first,
and you have them they're 60 overall base, you increase that speed to 99, they're already at 85 overall, 90 overall. That speed is a real factor, dog.
Yeah.
That's a real factor. But yeah, congratulations on your Cowboys. You know that y'all did well beating the Browns.
You know
that was a good one. Defense went crazy on my fantasy. It was stupid. Y'all had a return touchdown too, right?
Bro.
What's his name? The running back.
No, we didn't get no touchdown.
It was the running back.
Oh no. Punt return.
Dowdle.
No, it was
or who is it?
It was Turpin.
Turpin. Okay.
Yeah, he scored that bit.
Yeah.
Our kicker hit a 66-yard field goal.
Aubrey's a dog. I don't know what's in his leg. He has like a metal leg.
No, he has a shotgun in his leg.
He be booting them, bitch. I see why you drafted him. I see why you drafted him like 5th overall.
Everybody looking at me like, what's wrong with this dude?
Nigga drafted
he had 28 points.
Drafted a kicker in the 1st round.
Everybody looking at me, what's wrong with this guy? He's tripping.
You drafted him in the 6th round. That is kind of crazy, though. But hey, shit. It was worth it.
It
looked like it.
He had 28
for week what?
Week 1, 28. Yeah. And that's how I go. But we gonna score like 20 early. 20. Wow. 21 early. Wow. Kick all field goals rest of the game.
Run the ball, kick field goals.
That's the rest of the game.
Get it out of there.
That's the rest of the game. Shout out to the Patriots. They still trash, but like Jacoby Brissett.
1-0.
1-0.
We did our thing, undefeated.
I beat the Bengals.
Undisputed.
The only reason why I can't give you that because the Bengals just don't got no O-line. They just don't have an offensive line. That's why they do what you were talking about.
They just got an O-line. That's the problem. They got Trent Brown, and then on the left side for the left tackle got another All-Pro. They got 2 All-Pro tackles. Trent Brown is not mid. He ain't never been mid. What are you talking about? He wasn't mid on the Niners. He wasn't mid on the Patriots. And he ain't mid now.
So you're saying y'all defeated them with a better offensive line?
To be honest, I was actually surprised at how good our O-line looked. I was surprised at how good our because I thought it was just about to be Sac City.
Because all you got to do is run the ball. That's why you can't be Sac City unless you throw the ball.
We were throwing the ball, though. It was towards the end of the game. It wasn't towards till towards the end of the game that we really started running with Mondre.
I just don't know, bro. I just think y'all lose 14 games this year.
I think it was a good game player. I think nobody really played spectacular other than Mondre. Mondre did.
He went crazy.
But other than that, Jacoby played just like how he needs to be for the first 5 games till Drake may take over. And hey, Pages, we in business, baby. We in business. So for all you guys who like football as well, man, drop comments below. Let us know your favorite teams so we could keep up with them.
Shout out Cowboys
Keep
fans,
up what
man.
you got. Fuck the Cowboys.
Shout out the Cowboys
If
fans.
you're a Cowboys fan, actually don't even comment.
Shout out Dak Prescott. That big fat check.
Yeah.
I'm talking about big fatty.
For an average quarterback.
That's crazy.
I'll never understand.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett. Okay, continue.
How can you be average and make $200 million?
Same way you can be named Jacoby Brissett and start for the Patriots. Continue. Shit is crazy.
But yeah, that was what, episode 54? Some good conversation.
Man, you see, he missed me, man. It's been a minute. You know, he needed this guy, man. He's been blowing my phone up, killing me and shit, man. It's been a long time coming. You know, we had to get a little seclusion. We had to get a little seclusion era. But here we are. With a beard and nappy hair and not giving a singular damn. You hear what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's
back at it like a crackhead.
Like a motherfucking crackhead.
Man.
Hey, back in the studio, though. It feels good to be in the studio.
It feels good, man. It feels good.
It feels good.
Feel good, man. Feels good.
Yeah. And also we're gonna be having some major guests on soon.
Ooh.
So y'all stay tuned. Comment down below what kind of guests y'all also want to see, who y'all want to hear from, their mindset and things like that as well. We'll try and get those guests in. But
I was talking to the chat and they said we should get some strippers on here. I know a couple.
They said that or you said that?
Huh?
They said it or
you? The chat. I had talked to the chat, and I'm gonna make sure I get them strippers on here like y'all requested. I got you. I got some nice young ladies that can take care of the things that y'all need to take care of.
All right. Yeah. All right, y'all. Peace. What's up, villains? New episodes of the Will vs. the Way Uncensored MMA podcast drop weekly. Make sure to check out our most recent episodes and latest interviews that we've had on the channel. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.